a whole reward structure for doing story arc stuff. So we know that's really important. You know, that was a huge thing in the beta where people were like going like, we don't know where the story is, or we're not feeling the story's deep enough. So we actually had there was a big Saturday writing fest, and out of that came overarching storylines, which then we've spent a ton of time going back in, threading those in. In fact, we've got one of our, I'll just say not even one, our most IP rabid designer, yes, which is Brian.
Brian.
Yeah, sorry. Yes. Who is frightening how much he knows.
When we announced that we were doing Champions Online in a big company meeting, it was awful. Not awful, it was awesome. Brian just started giggling. Giggled, you remember?
And he's this enormous guy.
Enormous guy, and he just giggled for like 2 or 3 minutes. He couldn't stop.
Brian has played in my game,
Yeah.
my hosted game at DunderCon since the late 80s.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I think we're working on at least 17 or 18 consecutive years that he's come to it. God love him, he's a wonderful guy.
And so we said, great, you're going to do all of the lore, knowledge, story-based missions, and give us, and he's like, okay, that's great, I'll do it. He'll process super fast, right? So it's it's amazing because we'll sit down and he's like, okay, I'm really concerned because of this one storyline that I don't think we can get in. And so then he's like, just starts going off and like, well, just do your best to like thread. He's like, okay, we actually can't. I'm gonna have to reference these, and he's like starts talking about like tertiary entities in the universe, but I'm gonna have to reference those in some way. And we're like, that is awesome, Brian.
Yeah, he's fabulous.
All right, we know that there are missions that you don't read. Certain MMO players just,
What do I have to do?
The storyline ones, you're going to have to read to get the story.
Cool.
So we've got time for one more question, though.
Very good.
Dimensionality.
You can come up afterwards.
Actually, no, he can't. You can find them in the booth
Oh,
afterwards.
really?
We have to
Okay, I didn't
circle
mean to
them out
cut you
here.
off then. Go ahead.
In the hall.
They're going to take me away.
When you were talking about making something feel like Star Trek, one thing has been common in Star Trek since the very beginning, and that is the fact that basically they're fighting, except for one specific time, it's mostly fighting on a flat plane. And they're always face to face to side, except for that one.
Can I answer this?
We're at the con, come on. Z-minus 10,000, buddy, let's go.
That is not true. I can tell you from the last
I
play
missed
test.
Deep Space Nine, by the way.
Oh, like in the game?
No.
The last
No, he's talking
He's talking about in.
Oh,
in
never mind. I'm like, no, that's not true. In the game. Last play test.
I'm just saying, since the original series, it's usually been this or that or this. Sometimes they're at little angles, but only once that I can really think of. With
Riker coming up.
Yeah. How you got, can you, have you, I'm sorry, but when you're having ships firing at each other, it's easy to do it in 3D space. And I'm sure you have, but how do you keep it looking like Star Trek when it's looking so different from what we're used to seeing?
It's surprising. We're actually trying to keep combat kind of level. We don't want it to become. We don't want it to be a dogfighter. We don't want you to get gimbal locked. We don't want you to get up and then get stuck. There are no barrel rolls. I don't want to say it's not 2D. It is 3D. 3D comes into play. You'll go behind asteroids. You'll maneuver in 3 dimensions. But we have done a lot of really cool stuff to try to keep it 2D, both for the franchise reasons, but also for ease of play.
But contrawise to that, there are the runabouts and the small fighter craft that came in Deep Space Nine, which would be more agile. Are those more free to play around, or are they constrained the same?
Those are a little bit more free, a little bit more faster, but you will spend the majority of your time in frigates like cruisers and going up to the big guys.
Okay. So we have one more set of stuff to give away, and I'm going to let Bill and Craig come up with how, because they're cryptic bags. They're not
We're making
game
them
specific.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So these handy dandy over the shoulder cryptic bags.
Oh yeah, good. There you go. All right, so
I can't even get one of them.